Bismillahir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. We got a couple things to do today. A couple good things to do. Firstly, Surah An-Nas is what we finished off on. All right, we finished off on Surah An-Nas last week, but there are a couple other things that I would like to discuss about Surah An-Nas. Okay, a couple other things I'd like to discuss about the surah. Really good sort of addendums, mainly about the difference between Shayateen al-Ins and Shayateen al-Jinn. So you got Shayateen of Ins and you got Shayateen of the Jinn, the evil forces of the Ins and the evil forces, all right, of the Jinn. And there are different things about them, okay, different realities, different rulings about them. But before we get to that, we need some inspiration. So let us turn to Ar-Ruh al-Quds from Sheikh Muhyiddin ibn Arabi, and a short biography, okay? A short biography, okay, about stories of the Qisas al-Awliya. And we said earlier that we got Qisas al-Anbiya, we got the stories of the prophets, and we got stories of the Sahaba. So why do we need stories of the Awliya? Well, very simply, the prophets, it's easy for your nafs to say, well, they're prophets, right? And the Sahaba, it's easy for your nafs to say, well, oh, they met the Prophet, and if I had met the Prophet, I would be acting differently too, right? But the awliya are from regular eras, eras far from the time of the Sahaba and from the time of the Salaf. So it would behoove us to look at them, because we would actually feel more inclined, almost, maybe even more inclined to them, since we can relate more to what they went through. Okay, they didn't have the Prophet, they didn't have the Sahaba, they didn't have the great conquests, they didn't have the political power sometimes, and yet they face the same issues that we're facing. So this is Abdullah ibn Ja'dun al-Hinnawi, son of Muhammad ibn Zakaria, the Hinna collector. Okay. Now we're told that he died in Fez in the year 1200, 597. Of course, Ibn Arabi was from Andalusia, okay, Andalusia, and so he met most of the people in this book are from the West. Okay, he said, I brought him together with my companion al-Habashi. This sheikh was one of the four supports with whom Allah preserved the ummah. He had asked Allah to remove his good repute from the hearts of the world. When he was absent, people did not miss him. When he was present, no one sought his advice. When he arrived in a place, he was accorded no welcome. And in conversation, he was passed over and ignored. I do not remember the reason for my meeting him. That is because when I came to the city of Fez, certain people who had heard of me wished to see me. I therefore fled from the house where I was staying and took refuge in the Friday mosque. These people went to the house, and when they did not find me there, they came to the mosque. I saw them, and they came to me and asked for Ibn Arabi. So I told them to look further until they found him. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. I wanted to read to you Abu Muhammad Abdullah al-Qattan. This is what I wanted to read to you. This man had a profound understanding of the Quran and was a blameless man who spoke the truth without fear. Even rulers were not immune from the severity of his denunciations and would present the truth forcefully to all without exception. Okay. I did not in any way concern him that by denouncing the misdeeds and it did not in any way concern him that by denouncing the misdeeds and unlawful exploits of the sultans, he exposed himself to the danger of execution. He had many confrontations with rulers, but the exigencies of space prevent me from relating them here. He used to quote only from the Quran and ignored all other books. On one occasion in Qurtuba, I heard him say, poor wretches, they who compile books and essays, for how great a reckoning they will have to face on the morrow. Are not the book of God and the traditions of his messenger sufficient for them? He would always look after his companions, although he himself never lived in comfort and hardly had 2 dirhams to rub together. One day, a certain sultan decided to have him executed. So the guards seized him and brought him before the vizier. The sheikh then said to him, "O oppressor, O enemy of God, O enemy of your own soul, why am I being charged?" The vizier replied, "God has put you in my power and you will not live for more than a day." Then the sheikh said, "It is not within your power to hasten or delay an appointed moment. Indeed, none of what you threaten me with will come to pass, for it is I who will attend your last rites." Then the vizier ordered his guards to throw the sheikh into prison until he had consulted the sultan concerning his execution. As he was being taken to the prison for the night, he said, "The true believer is always in the prison in this world, and this prison is merely part of the greater one." On the next day, when the vizier had told the sultan about the sheikh and his utterances, the sultan ordered him to be brought before him. When he had been brought, the sultan saw before him an ugly man for whom nobody cared and whom no one wished well, all because he spoke the truth and brought to light the faults and misdeeds of men. After he had asked of the sheikh his name and lineage, the sultan asked him whether he had preserved his belief in the unity of God, whereupon the sheikh recited some of the Quran to him and expounded its meanings. The sultan was impressed by this and warmed to him, so much so that he began to discuss matters of state with him. The sultan asked the sheikh what he had thought of his dominion, at which question the sheikh laughed out loud. On being asked the reason for his laughter, the sheikh said, "You call this mad folly you are in a dominion, and you call yourself a king? You are more like he whom Allah said, there was a king coming after them, plundering all ships, which that king now suffers and burns in the fire." Okay? "You are like the man of whom a loaf is needed and who is then told to eat it." Then the sheikh became scathing in his denunciation, unleashing his anger on all which angered him, there being ministers and jurists present. The sultan then fell silent in shame and said, "This is a man who speaks aptly. O Abdullah, become a member of the court," said the sultan. At this the sheikh said, "Never, for your court and your palace are wrongfully acquired, and had I not been compelled, I would not have come here at all. May Allah preserve me from you and all the like of you." Then the sultan ordered him to be given gifts and pardoned. As for the sheikh, he returned the gifts and accepted the pardon. The sultan then ordered that the gifts be given to his family. Before much time had passed, the vizier died, and Sheikh al-Qattan attended his funeral, saying, "My oath is fulfilled." Okay. So here we have a sheikh who, at any wrong, was a severe forbidder of wrong, and who called out wrong. He said he would often shout and raise his voice before nobles of the land, saying, "These are the wrongdoers who perpetrated injustice in the land. May the curse of Allah, the men and the angels, be on them forever and ever. Their punishment will not be lightened, nor shall they be granted any respite. I myself," now Ibn Arabi continues, "I myself used to associate with this man, and he had great affection for me. On one occasion, I invited him to spend the night in our house. After he had been seated, all right, so we'll turn now to our business with the Quran. I don't know how much of the story of Sheikh al-Qattan you all missed. I just looked up and found that the thing had paused, unfortunately. So I just looked up right now and saw that the thing had paused, but you can catch it on the podcast, which is almost ready. There are maybe a couple more days, and you can catch up on the story of Sheikh al-Qattan on the podcast, unfortunately, that we had some pause. Is everything back now? Do you all see it back? All right, so let's get to our business here. There's a big difference between... so basically, the summary of what I just read is that here you have a man who's considered the paragon of Islamic spirituality. He's considered the chief, okay, of the people who are interested in spirituality. And here he is praising a sheikh, okay, praising a sheikh who doesn't stop. He doesn't mince words. All right. He went after those who did wrong. He had no qualms. All right. Going after the people who had done any wrong. Okay. He had no qualms about it. He had no shyness about it. All right. So we gotta realize that our deen, it's the entire. We gotta take the entire thing. We can't take part of it, what we like of it, and leave off what we don't. It's not our deen in the first place. This is the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. We have to take whatever we're given from it. Okay. We take whatever we're given from it. We take the whole thing. And this is one of the signs of the difference between Ahl Sunnah and Ahl Bid'ah. Ahl Bid'ah, they take only what they like of it, and they harp on that. They focus on that, leaving off everything else. All right, leaving off what they don't like. This is one of the signs of Ahlul Bid'ah. Allah protect us from it. Imam al-Jazuli in his Dala'il al-Khairat, he says a common dua that a Muslim should make is Allahumma amitna ala sunnati wal jama'ah. Right? Oh Allah, let us live and die upon sunnah and jama'ah and avoid Ahlul Bid'ah. This is, your deen is your eternity. It's the most important matter. It's our eternity here. Our eternity is at stake. All right. So now let's turn to an addendum to Surah An-Nas. Surah Al-Falaq says, "Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq." Seek refuge in the Lord of the Falaq. So it gives Allah the description of Lord of the Falaq, and then it seeks refuge from a number of things, worldly harms. Okay, sorcerers, magicians, etc. Surah An-Nas is the opposite. Surah An-Nas describes Allah in three different ways. Rabb al-Nas, Malik al-Nas, Ilah al-Nas, and then seeks refuge from one thing. Okay? Okay, so again, Surah Al-Falaq describes Allah in one way, then seeks refuge in three things. Whereas Surah An-Nas describes Allah in three ways, and then seeks refuge from one thing. Okay? Showing you that what the harm in Surah An-Nas is far worse than the harm in Surah Al-Falaq. The harm in Surah Al-Falaq is all worldly harm. And it has to do with the human beings. All right, min sharr al-naffathati fil ghasiqin idha waqab, your own passions. All right, naffathati fil uqad, the magicians, black magic. We believe that there's something called black magic, right? Min sharri hasidin idha hasad, the people who give you hasad. Now in Surah An-Nas, it's all about the shayateen of the jinn. Okay, and of course the shayateen al-ins is mentioned as well, but mainly here al-waswas al-khannas. We said yesterday, waswas al-khannas is that devil which Allah Azza wa Jal has allowed and given a seat next to your heart so he could whisper to you. What's the difference? One of the first differences is that the evil of the humans, all right, the evil ones of the humans, if you lose to them, you could still earn Jannah. Whereas the evil of the shayateen, if you lose to them, you'll go to Jahannam. Okay? There's a big difference. Okay? You can go out, and we have shayateen al-ins. So who is shayateen al-ins? The shayateen of the humans. They're the ones who the darkness has completely enveloped their heart, so that they no longer receive any goodness. Okay? They no longer receive any goodness. Okay? Such a shaitan of ins, if he conquers you, if you fought against him fi sabilillah, okay, and you strove against him, what does the Prophet ﷺ tell you? All right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ. Allah says in the Quran, they are killed and they get killed, and they both go to Jannah. So the victor and the loser against shayateen and ins, they both go to Jannah. And this ayah here, فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ, all right, shows us, and also other evidences that there are prophets that come on Yawm al-Qiyamah with a handful of followers. Some come with 2 followers, one with 1 follower, and some prophets, a couple prophets come all alone. Okay, and I can't remember if the hadith only mentions that one prophet will come all alone. What does this tell us? Not always is the truth victorious over evil in this world. Okay, the truth is not always victorious over evil in this world. Okay, sometimes evil is victorious over truth. Okay, so we're a people who know that sometimes we're going to go it alone. Ashabul Kahf, why did the Prophet ﷺ tell us? In Akhirul Zaman, increase greatly from reading Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf will protect you from Akhirul Fitan, Akhirul Zaman, because these youth were 3 or 5 or 7 youth, and Allah is telling us these numbers to show how small they are, right? How small their numbers are. Many times you see things repeated. Repeated is to remove any vagueness, to tell us they are small in number, okay? But they're the ones who are on the truth, and the entire city was on falsehood. Okay? The entire city was on falsehood. Prophet Isa and the Hawariyin, the Hawariyin who killed Prophet Isa, okay? Yani they were, and according, if we're going to take the theology of some people, yani if the Ahlul Kitab are all accepted, then the rejectors of Prophet Isa, those who are responsible for having him crucified, well, they should be forgiven too, and they should be Ahlul Jannah as well. But no, those who made kufr of Prophet Isa bin Maryam, they were on the falsehood, and they were the enemies, and they, at that moment, okay, had their victory. Okay? And the Hawariyin and Prophet Isa and his mother, these few followers of truth, they were the ones, Ahlullah at that time. They were the people of Allah at that time. Okay? Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's only one man, and then he had one ally, who was his wife, Sarah, and then another ally, his nephew, Lut. Okay? For decades on end, 3 believers. Okay? Even Lut alayhi salam, his wife rejected. His wife wasn't a believer, and his daughters were. So a handful of people. So we have to have heart, and we have to know that there's a time, and it's happening now. You might be in the minority, and the people of bid'ah and the people of kufr, they will rise and they will be celebrated. You got to swallow that, right? It's happened before. In fact, in the majority of human history, Ahlullah, the people of Allah Azza wa Jal, have been in the minority. All right, they've been in the minority, and they bite the bullet. Okay, and that's why they earn akhirah. Okay, what does Surah Al-Mutaffifin tell us at the end? It says they were laughed at in this world, but they're going to laugh in the next world. All right, what happened? Allah says, what happened to you in this world? They said we used to get laughed at. Right, we were laughed at, we were mocked. Then what happened? Now you're the ones mocking. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, you're having the last laugh. Okay, so this is something very important for us to realize, that sometimes shayateen of ins, we do not win the battle against them, but it doesn't harm our deen. Right? However, you lose the battle to shayateen al-jinn, okay, and you have lost a khusran and mubina, right? A major loss, okay? And the shayateen of the jinn, they are more powerful because they're unseen, right? You can't move away from them. You can move away from people all you want. You can never move away from shayateen al-jinn. Alright? وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Allah tells us that you cannot have victory over shayateen al-jinn except by dhikrillah. Okay? Al-isti'adha, seeking refuge, and dhikrillah. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن السيئة وقل ربي أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. Again, 3, this is the 3rd time Allah is telling us, okay, to make isti'adha from the shayateen. وَإِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. The Allah talks about the believers. إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. In other words, there's a shaitan passing by, and then he sees you, okay? Then he circles around you, and he gets you to do something wrong, to fall. Then تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Alright? So only dhikr and isti'adha will help you against shayateen al-jinn. This is a big difference. But shayateen al-jinn, you cannot lose this battle. Okay? You cannot lose this battle. Shayateen of ins, you can conquer. But shayateen al-jinn, you could only push them away through dhikrillah. And we said yesterday as well, the qareen that is inside or on top of the heart of an individual, okay, on top of the heart of an individual is someone who is a shaitan that can only be defeated by ilm. Knowledge is the only way that this shaitan can be defeated. Now here's another thing, another difference between the two. So we said the first difference is that the shayateen of ins, you can lose to them, it doesn't matter. They can defeat you, it doesn't matter. But shayateen al-jinn, you can't lose that battle. Okay? Second one, you can move away from shayateen of ins, right? You can move away from them. You can go off, live on a mountain. As the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, there might come a time, the most pure rizq, the most pure food you have would be a man who has some goats on the top of a mountain. Okay? So you can move away from shayateen al-ins, you can never move away from shayateen al-jinn. Shayateen al-ins, you can repel them physically. You can physically push them away. You could say words that will turn them away from you, turn them off. But shayateen al-jinn, okay, you can only do this by dhikrillah. Okay, dhikrillah. So a munafiq, he can conquer shayateen al-ins, all right, if he's motivated by showing off or something, as there was in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, a sahabi who turned out he may have been one of the munafiqs, because he killed a lot of the enemy of the shayateen al-ins, but then the Prophet ﷺ said, how do you, this man, he did not intend it for Allah's sake. So even the munafiq can do a good job repelling shayateen of ins, but the munafiq cannot repel shayateen al-jinn, okay, because this is only by dhikrillah, and we know that the munafiq does very little dhikrillah. We now move to a final difference, is that the guile of shayateen al-ins is far stronger than the guile of shayateen al-jinn. Alright, Allah tells us, Inna kayda shaytani kana da'ifa. Alright, the kayd of shayateen is very weak. Okay, فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنه ليس له سلطان على الذين آمنوا. Alright, if you recite Quran, make isti'adha, say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Okay, Surah Al-Nahl. Then, إنه ليس له سلطان على الذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. The people who believe in Allah and rely upon Him, shayateen of jinn have no power over them. So they're, in fact, despite these other aspects, okay, they're actually weak. Okay, they're weak. إنما سلطانه على الذين يتولونه والذين هم به مشركون. The sultan of the jinn, shayateen al-jinn, is only upon pagans and those who seek shayateen. There are some people out there who seek shayateen. Now, you got Satanism is actually quite popular these days. Okay, Satanism is out there. Okay, so in contrast, Allah says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بَعْضَكُمْ بِبَعْضٍ. We will give you a big test, each one of you to one another, humans. But again, you do not, who wins of the humans is not an indicator of the truth. This is very important. All right, who conquers who of the humans in the realm of ideas or conquest or anything, all right, is not an indicator of truth. You can outrightly lose the battle with humans. And tell me, who won the battle of Karbala? Al-Hussein alayhi salam, okay, or Yazid and his army? All right, Hussein didn't win. Who won the battle? Nuh, okay, alayhi salam. Was he able to conquer his people in his lifetime until the flood came? No. So we have many instances. Okay, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, was he correct or was Muawiyah correct? All right, with all due respect to Muawiyah, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari was correct. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, his mission was, he went around saying, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ. Okay, oh, those who hoard, okay, gold and silver. All right, oh, you hoarders of gold and silver. All right, فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. And then the rest of the ayah, give them the tidings of a fierce punishment. Okay, and he recites such ayahs to the rich of the Umayyads, the Umayyads who were taking gold and silver, and which is basically the wealth that's coming in from the states, okay, or from the conquest, and keeping it to themselves. Well, who won that battle? Abu Dharr al-Ghifari was expelled, and he was made to live somewhere else, okay, far off, away from everything else. So it's more important for us to defeat the enemies of the shayateen al-jinn, which is by dhikrillah and knowledge, than it is to defeat shayateen of ins. And it may be for the plan of Allah Azza wa Jal that shayateen al-ins conquer and win out sometimes. This is from the plan of Allah, and Allah knows best. And ultimately, this dunya is not the abode of victory for us. It's not the abode of victory. We have to get that straight. All right. Some people think that if we're not like the number one in the news or something, or we're not accepted by everyone, then this is a flaw in our theology or something. You're so wrong. It's not even funny how wrong you are. Okay. In fact, quite the opposite. A lot of times, popularity in the dunya is not a good sign. Okay. A lot of times, popularity in the dunya is not a good sign. All right, so let's move on now and look at some of your questions. All right, or so many comments. All right. Mariam from New Jersey is saying, today is the 27th of Rajab. Okay. Can you tell us, is there anything specific to do? What we are taught to do is this time is seek knowledge of what happened in the Isra and the Mi'raj. There's not a specific ritual or anything, but it's a time for knowledge, because we know that in the Mi'raj we learn a lot about the hellfire. And of course, this is one thing that is like almost like a politically incorrect thing to talk about hellfire. There are some people who want a religion where it's like just kumbaya, everyone's going to heaven, right? That's basically the religion that some people out there want. All right, they don't want anyone to go into hell, and God has to be all merciful. So God has to be like, probably your mom never punished you or something, or you never had a dad that punished you. So you imagine God is just like how you grew up, where you can do anything and you're going to get a trophy at the end of the day, or no matter what you do, there's no consequence for what you do. Okay, and whatever you want to do, it should be accepted. Okay. So, but well, God's not like that. So you need to wake up and realize that you're living on another planet here.